There's a lot of stuff to discuss after the events at Boulder City, so I'll try to be brief. Valor Christensen was fined $2,500 for nearly wrecking John Baldy Jr. out of the lead. Christensen and Baldy Jr. had to be separated by security after the race after the two got into a heated argument in which Baldy Jr. was the aggressor, but no action was taken against him. Christensen also had choice words for his own teammate Max Terthoen after Terthoen took Christensen out of contention for the win on the last lap. However, that wouldn't be the only problem for Max Terthoen. He was also given a 2-race suspension for causing multiple incidents during the race that were deemed very avoidable. The same penalty was given to Stephen Bennett, who was also suspended 2 races for spinning out multiple cars and causing multiple avoidable collisions. The final news item is a big one. 3 teams have withdrawn from the next 2 races at Darlington and Road America. Hollywood Cardinal Racing, El Segundo Racing, and Southern State Racing all have withdrawn from the upcoming races due to the teams running into funding issues and not having any extra cars available due to crashes they've been involved in. All 3 teams will return at Indianapolis in a few weeks. However, 2 drivers aren't happy as Ruben Burns and Kelvin Stevenson were not in favor of the withdrawals, but they couldn't find other rides available, so they're going to have to sit on the sidelines, unfortunately. Now on to the highlights of Race 14 of the Rejectcar Elite Series. Race 14 of the Rejectcar Elite Series heads to Darlington, South Carolina for a 74-lap race at the Darlington Raceway. Clay Marcellus was on pole with Alex Constantine to his outside as the field drives through turns 1 and 2. Pretty orderly here. Jebediah Butterturner and T. Scorpio made an all-independent row 2, and John Baldy Jr. is qualified in 5th. He's been hot. The last few races have been charging up the point table, so expect him to have another great run. As Marcellus slides up into turn 3, and here comes Jebediah Butterturner to try to lead the first lap of the race with John Baldy Jr. and Dustin Harris in tow. As Marcellus comes back to the line, as he's going to get passed by Russ Palmer. And we got contact in the back. Oh, here we go. I think our wreckfest has started. His first caution is out on lap 2 of the race. This is focused on Niga Durkistan towards the back end of the field here. Looks like Wes Miller and that is Hinga Durkistan who just go onto the apron and then drive up the racetrack and cause a pretty big pileup in turn 1. There's multiple cars involved as Niga Durkistan gets stuck on the banking. Here is Niga's brother, Durka Durkistan, the 07, who is even further back, running with a group of cars. Try to go low to avoid it, and Durka just absolutely rear ends the 83 of Zalen Foster. Rafael Smoljanovic is involved, so is the 61 of Cooper Key. That's going to take Durkistan out of the race. And here's a better look at Zalen Foster. He gets pinched up into the wall and he just gets absolutely nailed by the 07. Foster was just an innocent victim in that wreck. Let's see, the 53 Kevin Flagrant is also involved. Here is T. Scorpio on the 7, who was running up front at the very beginning of the race, and he just gets body checked into the wall by Jay Baldy and Tavion Cobb. Dongo Hujadadi and Hinga Durkistan nearly take each other on the wall as Zeke Miller is riding the wall as well. Here's Garrett Banks in the 46. This is after the cautions already came out here. Coming off turn 2. Makes contact with 50 of Asher Russell and takes both of them into the outside wall. Garrett Banks hits it pretty hard. And unfortunately, that's going to take Garrett Banks out of the race. And was that Jordan Kosovo who just missed nailing the 46? Well, here's his onboard shot. This is Jordan Kosovo, who started basically dead last. As you're going to see his first lap here, or I should say his second lap. Barely misses the first wreck. As he's coming through turn 2. As you're going to see the 50 and 46 wreck up ahead. Can't see through the smoke, decides to go low. Almost makes a bad decision, but splits the 50 and 46. So a risky gamble trying to go low ended up working out for him, but I'm pretty sure he won't make that move again. At least not when there's smoke in the middle of the racetrack. Dustin Harris would lead on the lap 7 restart as multiple cars are already a lap down due to damage sustained in the lap 2 wreck, and they're already off the pace. Russ Palmer is now hounding the 06 to get the lead. Clay Marcellus, the pole sitter, has dropped back to 3rd. As you're wondering why the 06 is the leader, we did have all the leaders came down pit road to check for running over debris because there was a pretty big wreck in turn 1. As here comes Russ Palmer and Clay Marcellus, the 2 cars that keep getting mixed up because they're both black and red. I should know better. One has red numbers, the other one has white. Either way. The second caution of the day will come out on lap 7 here as we're focused on Jareem Abdul-Sagar. Wes Miller and Jebediah Butterturner make contact and take the 86 hard into the outside wall. Jalapenos involved, Zeke Miller, Ashton Russell's involved in another incident. He's smoking, so that's going to take Ashton Russell out of the race, along with the 86 of Dream Abdul-Sagar. Here's the onboard from Wes Miller here. He already kind of indirectly caused 2 incidents. As they just got into the 03 trying to pass him, and that just caused a domino effect behind him. So not a good day for the 86 and the 50, and definitely not a good start for the 220 of Wes Miller, the youngest driver in the race at 15. On the lap 12 restart, Clay Marcellis gets a pretty big jump over Dustin Harris. He just nicked Dustin Harris to the line after the last caution to come out, and he's going to use that to his advantage because he's already cleared about 2 car lengths on the 06, as there's contact in the back between, I believe that's Zebediah Wheat Farmer and Joey Davidson behind him. Third caution today on lap 12 right after the restart. Here's Wes Miller again. He gets Hinga Durkistan hits him, tries to re-merge, but Bryce Fencing doesn't let him in. Fencing turns to 38 at Dongwon Hujadani, and then Wes Miller retaliates and spins the 70 at Hinga Durkistan. Jalapenos on his side. Kevin Flagrant, Fat Cox and Big Toe. And there's Jay Baldy, who just comes barreling in. Another big wreck here. Here's what happened to Alex Constantine and Jay Baldy. These two were racing each other because, well, they're off the pace. Constantine nearly wrecks the 45 as they come up across the accident scene. Alex Constantine hits the 38 and then just spears into the back of the 74. That earned the 45 and the 76 a trip to the hauler after the race. And this was slightly further up. Jordan Kosovo running behind the slow 89 of Rafael Smolzanovic. Smolzanovic gets into the wall. Francesco Valentino hooks the back end of the 21 Sincere Fox and sets off another multi-car spin down front straightaway here. Jordan Kosovo then gets hit head-on by the 21 Sincere Fox. But surprisingly, they're going to be able to continue on despite that damage, as you see the rest of the cars in full drive away. The lap 17 restart, Jake Blondie is the leader of the race. There's been a lot of drivers coming down pit road just to check to make sure they didn't run over any debris. He's got Tavion Cobb, Gustavo Silva Rodriguez behind him, and Clay Marcellis, who just had the lead, is back to 4th. And I see Daisuke Hiroshimi in the 30, who's in 5th running currently, as Jake Blondie is leading his first laps of the season, I believe. We don't see him up front hardly at all because he either is running really slowly or he gets wrecked. It's one or the other. But he's now getting challenged by the 40 Tavion Cobb, the surprise winner at Boulder City last time out, as Cobb is trying to build some momentum here and show that he can run competitive with his teammate Keon Parker, even though Parker already has, actually both of them have a win this season. As Jake Blondie gets into the wall, same with Clay Marcellis in the 01, as that allows Tavion Cobb to get away. The 4th caution of the day comes out on lap 18. Bryce Fencing gets into the back of T Scorpio in the 7 and then gets hooked hard into the outside wall by Kareem Abdul-Najjar. The 82 goes back in front of traffic and causes another multi-car wreck on the back straightaway. That will end the day for Bryce Fencing. And here we are focused on the 82 of Kareem Abdul-Najjar. Just kind of a domino effect, and he puts the 57 in the wall, tries to merge in front of traffic, and then basically cuts off the 74 Jalapeno and sets off another multi-car spin. I don't believe that was an intentional by Kareem. The race restarted on lap 23 with John Baldy Jr. as the leader. As you can probably guess, yes, the leaders came down pit road again. John Baldy Jr. gets a great jump off the restart because Jebediah Butterturner restarted in 2nd and is holding up everybody else. Mateo Valentino in the 2 is a lap down, so he's basically just trying to pass the 48 to get back on the lead lap. And here's what I mentioned about the 03. He has damage, but he restarted in 2nd. He's still on the lead lap, and this is how slow he is off the restart. He did not get a good jump, and he's holding up traffic behind him. This is going to get very, very sketchy because Darlington's not a wide racetrack. Keon Parker in the 14 gets by. Joey Davidson trying to figure out how to get past the 03. His passing is pretty limited here at Darlington. But Jebediah just washes up the racetrack and allows Davidson, Russ Palmer, and here comes Daisuke Hiroshimi to follow through as well. He's holding up Barrett Cervantes in 11, though. Here's Kareem Abdul-Najjar and Zeke Miller. These two were the Calamity cousins at Motegi a couple weeks ago. And then Zeke Miller just dumps the 82 of Kareem for whatever reason. That earned Zeke Miller a trip to the hauler after the race. The 5th caution come out on lap 23. That was right after the restart. Dustin Harris in the 06, which we're focused on here, gets basically body checked by the 04 Zebediah Wheat Farmer and goes into the inside wall. A pretty harmless spin, probably the tamest incident of the day so far. That probably will change eventually. On a lap 29 restart, Barrett Cervantes is now the leader of the race. Barrett Cervantes, as you can tell, has no sponsor on the hood. And there were rumblings after Cariala that the team was going to shut down at some point during the mid-season. However, the team that he drives for, the High Seas Racing Team, is basically putting whatever they got left into the car to finish their independent run. I believe they have at least one more race after this appearance, so they will finish their part of the schedule, but there is strong rumors and a strong possibility that this team does shut down at the end of the season, which is a shame, and hopefully Barrett Cervantes can find at least a full-time drive for next season, as he's getting hounded by Jake Bonney in the 15. The 6th caution comes on lap 30. We have hardly gotten past 2 laps of green. As we're focused on Cooper Key here, he's kind of holding up the rest of the field. Eric Hawkinson makes contact with him, puts him hard into the inside wall. Dongoy, Who's Your Daddy, and Rafael Smolzanovic also go around after contact from the 06 of Dustin Harris. All 3 cars would continue on somehow. Eric Hawkinson, who kind of caused the last caution, would lead on the lap 35 restart. Key Scorpio, after being involved in the first wreck on lap 2, restarted in second. And an annoyance, Matteo Valentino, a lap car, is actually on pace with the leaders, and he's making Eric Hawkinson's life hell. So that's going to allow the 7 of T Scorpio to try passing, but no, Hawkinson's going to battle back on the outside. But Scorpio's going to go with the 2. Who's going to get it here? Mateo slides up ever so slightly in turn 3. Hawkinson's got to check out really bad as the caution's out once again. And this is Hawkinson just hit the wall. That's going to allow T Scorpio to beat him to the line. And here's why we're under caution on lap 35. Jebediah Butterturner, who's still being slow. Dustin Harris is on a rampage today as he just hooks and spins the 03 to the inside wall. Just a single car incident. I didn't think a caution needed to come out, but the officials threw it anyway. Next restart was on lap 40. Daisuke Hiroshimi is the leader on this restart, not Jacob Lauren, as he's just going to get past the 80 with no issues, even though the 89 of Rafael Smolzanovic started to his inside. As Hiroshimi's going to drive away, John Baldy Jr. is back up to second, and Keon Parker's back up to third. And Gustavo Silva Rodriguez has made another appearance in the top 5. As Hiroshimi is trying to get his first career win in the Rejectcar Elite Series. He's been in contention a couple of times this season at a couple tracks, which is kind of surprising here. The 8th caution of the day will come on lap 40. Rafael Smolzanovic rides the wall, gets into Tavion Cobb, and spins him in front of the field. Oh, and a big hit. Jebediah Butterturner absolutely rear ends the 40 of Tavion Cobb. Jake Blondie was also involved. That would end the day for the 03 of Jebediah Butterturner. We got another look at him. He tried to go low, but the 40 happened to appear right in front of him, and he just absolutely drills him right in the rear end. Whoa, Matteo Valentino with a close call there. And here's his onboard shot. He actually got put into the wall. Couldn't tell who that was who got into the 30 at Donghoi Who's Your Daddy, as Matteo still riding the wall. Crashes up ahead, is going to try to find a hole, and just between the 40 and the 01 of Clay Marcellus. What a close call. Ballsy move there. At least it worked out for him. Kareem Abdul-Najjar, who's been involved in multiple incidents today already, is the leader on the lap 46 restart, just because everybody's been pitting and everybody just keeps cycling to the front and to the back. However, he's horrendously slow in the restart because of all the damage he's got, and he's going to try to hold off Keon Parker for the lead, who nearly wrecks him. However, that gave Kareem a little bit of an advantage coming through the first and second corner. However, he's not going to be able to hold the lead much longer, as here comes Keon Parker with help from Gustavo Silva Rodriguez, Russ Palmer, Valor Christensen, and still the lap car, Matteo Valentino, who's still running up front with the leaders for some reason. Oh, there's contact in the back, and there goes the 18 of Eric Hawkinson. And that would bring up the 9th caution of the day on lap 46, just a whole stack up with the 82, and Hawkinson just gets turned by the 04 of Zebediah Wheat Farmer. As Hawkinson hits the inside wall and grinds to a stop, he would still continue on despite the damage. Hawkinson is showing some grit today. Gustavo Silva Rodriguez would lead on the lap 51 restart. He's got Valor Christensen right behind him. It's been hard to tell throughout the race because of all the cautions, but these two have been running really right next to each other pretty much the entire race. And if you remember the race at Boulder City last time out, these two were battling for the lead for a good majority of it. The 95 and the 20 have developed kind of a little bit of an on-track rivalry, but it's been respectful. These two love racing against each other because they basically get the best out of each other. So it's nice to see the 95 and the 20 running up front again because it's fun to see them watch. And they have a huge gap over the rest of the field. I don't even know where the rest of the field is in that shot. As the 10th caution today comes on a lap 51 here. Another look at Eric Hawkinson, and he's just getting bullied today. Joey Davison absolutely just turns him into the outside wall. Collects Matteo Valentino, Daisuke Hiroshimi, and I think Barrett Cervantes may have gotten a piece of it. But Eric Hawkinson still continues on. Now this was a little bit further up. Russ Palmer in the 13. T-Scorpio gets into Jacob Lauren, and Russ Palmer gets clipped. And he keeps bouncing off cars, off the wall, hits Joey Davison, then Barrett Cervantes. And then goes sliding down the front straightaway. He was wrecking almost the entire length of the front straightaway. That's actually impressive. And there's T-Scorpio with his wounded car as he drives away. As Russ Palmer continues to drive away. The race restarted on lap 56, and for once, the leader at the end of the last caution is still the leader on this one. Valor Christensen still holds the lead with Gustavo Silva Rodriguez in second, who's running really pretty fast despite having his rear end kicked in. Zebediah Wheat Farmer, who's caused multiple incidents, he's in third. And surprisingly, that's I thought that was Matteo Valentino got back on the lead lap. Nope, that's his brother Francesco, who's running in fourth, ironically in car number 4. But back to Christensen and Rodriguez, these two are racing each other really hard. And Zebediah Wheat Farmer, despite being kind of a wrecking ball today, is now possibly a threat to possibly win the race. Christensen slides up coming out of turn 4 and nearly gets wrecked by the 20. The 11th caution today comes on a lap 56. This is right off the restart, as we're focused on Jacob Lauren in the 80, who's held up behind the 89 of Rafael Smoljanovic, who is horrendously slow. Clay Marcellus tries to make a 3-wide move, and the hole closes up and it causes a little bit of a mini pileup in turn 1. Matteo Valentino involved in another wreck, Joey Davison, and Kareem Abdul-Najjar involved in another wreck as Davison's just pushing the 80 car out of the way. Race restarted on lap 61 with about 13 laps to go. Val Christensen still leads with Gustavo Silva Rodriguez and Zebediah Wheat Farmer still second and third respectively. The inside line was a bunch of slower damaged cars, but they are horrendously slow off the start, and most of the leaders are able to get by them. As Christensen is looking for his second win of the season, he got his first win at Dover about 5 races ago. And I mentioned before, especially during the Boulder City breakdown, he is a road course racer. It's not much of an oval guy, as Zebediah Wheat Farmer is trying to wreck the 20. But Christensen is definitely getting better on the ovals. The 12th caution of the day comes out right after restart on lap 61. Here's Zeke Miller again. Contact between him and John Baldy Jr. since the 73 around. Clay Marcellus, that's Miller's teammate, who's also involved. Joey Davison, Eric Hawkinson involved in another wreck. Why should I be surprised? But at least for Hawkinson, that wasn't his fault. Davison just been kind of all over the place. However, further up, though, after the caution had come out, Dongo Who's Your Daddy rides the wall coming off turn 4. Dustin Harris gets clipped by the 38 and takes both of them into the wall. Yeah, that's just kind of just bad timing for Dustin Harris. However, seemed to got out of it pretty clean, so he's going to continue on. The restart would come on lap 66 with 9 laps to go in the race. Valor Christensen still leads. Gustavo Silva Rodriguez in second. Francesco Valentino's up to third because most of the leaders came down pit road except for the top, 3 of the top 4. Dustin Harris, who got damaged with the 38, it restarted in 4th. Now he's going to try to make a run for the win. And Dongo Who's Your Daddy, who he got tangled up with, restarted in 5th. As Christensen is trying to hold off the 20 and the 4. Funny thing enough, Christensen and Francesco Valentino battled for the win at Dover a few races ago, so it looks like we might get a part 2 here. Until the 13th caution came out on lap 66. Here's Eric Hawkinson once again, and Joey Davidson just... oh boy. Eric Hawkinson's day hasn't been good at all. He's just been getting wrecked left, right, and center. Further up the racetrack, here's Kareem Abdul-Najjar, who just cuts off the 40 of Tavion Cobb and puts himself in the outside wall. And then there's the 89 of Rafael Smoljanovic and the 73 of Zeke Miller. Well, when the 82 wrecks, the 73 is not too far behind him, I guess. Another big wreck with 9 laps to go here. And here's Rafael Smoljanovic, who's just been damaged, wrecked, and slow the entire day. He definitely could have tried to avoid the 82, but didn't. And finally, that would take the 89 out of the race. Same with the 73 and 82. Surprisingly, the race did get restarted on lap 71. 5 laps to go here. Valor Christensen still leads with Gustavo Silva Rodriguez and Francesco Valentino still the top 3. This looks like identical to the last restart, except Christensen gets a better jump off the line. And he's going to try to pull some distance between him and the 20, and also the rest of the top 5, to try and take his second oval win of the season. However, I don't know. I think that rear end that's kicked in on the 20 of Gustavo Silva Rodriguez might be hurting him, if I can find the right words here. But no, he gets a better run coming off turn 4 here. However, later on the same lap, Valor Christensen and Gustavo Silva Rodriguez have to come into the pits because they're running out of fuel. They try to push their fuel tanks to the end of the race. However, it did not work. This would put John Baldy Jr. in the lead of the race to possibly take his second win of the season. Daisuke Hiroshima is actually up to second. However, during the last few laps, Hiroshima could not catch the 48. And here comes John Baldy Jr. to cross the line to take his second win of the season for the Baldy family racing team. And here are the results from Darlington. John Baldy Jr. scores his second win of the season for the Baldy family racing team, mainly thanks to fuel strategy. Daisuke Hiroshima comes home at second. I believe that's his best career finish. So a great run for him and the Big Bang Racing team. Matteo Valentino, who was a lap down and causing multiple incidents, somehow rebounded to finish in third. Russ Palmer comes home in fourth after he got involved in multiple incidents, mostly like other drivers. Eric Hawkinson comes home with a top 5 despite having his car beat to hell, and he was unfortunately involved in about 6 of the wrecks today, possibly more. I lost track. But a great top 5 finish, and he finished on the lead lap. So great resilience from Eric Hawkinson in the European Domination team. Valor Christensen, despite having to come into the pits to pit for fuel, comes home with a top 10. He's in 6th. Davion Cobb was also kind of a pinball. He finished in 7th. Francesco Valentino fell off, or he had to come down pit road as well for fuel, finished in 8th. Likewise with Gustavo Silva Rodriguez. And coming home in 10th is Donkoi Hujanetti. Gets the Big Bang Racing team, both of their cars, in the top 10. I believe this is the second time this season that's happened. Oh yeah, I should also mention, only the top 5 finished on the lead lap. Everybody from 6th on down was off the lead lap. And only 17 cars finished the race out of 42 that started. If that doesn't tell you how much of a wreck fest this was. If you thought Motegi was bad, this race was even worse. And we also broke the record for most cautions in a race. Motegi had 12, this race had 13. That's all I'm gonna say. After the chaos at Darlington, the Rejectcar Elite Series would head up to Road America for their 15th round of the season. Jordan Kosovo was on pole with surprisingly with Rafael Smoljanovic starting to his outside as the field barrels into turn 1. Maybe we'll get through here clean, hopefully, after the wreckfest we just had, as Smoljanovic is giving the fight to Jordan Kosovo. Smoljanovic does have some road course experience. I don't know why he's not running them more. He's been running ovals and has been kind of been acting a fool. And there goes the 89, just driving away from everybody. This is kind of a huge surprise. I should also mention that qualifying was held in the dry. There was no rainy conditions that affected it. Smoljanovic just put down a really good lap. And now Kosovo's under attack from Alex Constantine in the 76, who's looking for a good run for once. That is Keon Parker right behind the 71, and there's Gustavo Silva Rodriguez right behind him. Towards the back end of the field, here is Zaylen Foster in the 83, coming into the carousel. He makes contact with a 40 Tavion Cobb and goes hard into the tire barrier. Joey Davidson, his teammates involved, and there goes the 40 driving away, and that's going to take the 83 out of the race early on the first lap. Here's the chase cam of Joey Davidson, the 44, just running 3 wide with Ashton Russell, Tommy Salami. There's his teammate spinning in front of him and just nowhere to go, and piles into him. Zaylen Foster's day would be done, but Davidson would continue on. Back up front with Rafael Smoljanovic, the surprise leader of the race. No one expected him to even people did expect him to qualify somewhat decently, probably in the top 20, but no one expected him to bolt out a lap as he didn't qualify, and he qualified second. And he is looking to possibly pull one of the bigger upsets of the season, as, you know, he's an independent driver, which we've had 2 win this season, but he's driving for a much lower budget team than some of the other independents. Here's John Baldy Jr., the winner at Darlington last time out, who is currently running in 35th. He had a horrendous qualifying run. As I mentioned, qualifying was in the dry, not the wet. You would expect him to be further up, at least towards the front of the field, because he's actually had decent success on road courses. Nope, he just had a really bad lap, and he qualified almost dead last. He started in 38th, but at least he's up 3 spots to start early. As here's Jacob Lauren. I don't know why I got them 2 mixed up. But he makes contact with one of the Finnish engineering cars and goes into the tire barrier, and that's going to take Jacob Lauren out of the race. I still don't know why I confused him with Kosovo. Anyway, back up front, here is Alex Constantine, who's now caught up to the 89 of Rafael Smolzanovic, as he's now hounding him, trying to get the lead away from him. Constantine has not looked as dominant as he did at the beginning of the season, where he was the points leader for a number of weeks. He held it till, I believe, after Orlando's when he finally lost the points lead. But now he's definitely trying to redeem himself. He's still in the title hunt. It's just he needs to get some good runs together, because ever since his Cariola DNQ, he has not had as much success as he's hoped for. So he's definitely trying to get back on the right track, and this would be a good place to start, as he gets Smolzanovic to kind of screw up in turn 5, but unfortunately just can't make the run stick, and the 89 is going to get away from him there. So Constantine's going to have to try to set him up again. Here is Somalian driver Zico Ranadima Somaina, who's one of the many independents in the race today. Goes wide in the carousel and actually clips the tire barrier. You can see the left side damage on the 67 car. However, he didn't plow into it and just bounced off of it, so he's able to continue on. However, that's going to set him back. He was running 9th before that, so he had a great start to the race, but now his race just kind of went sour. Here's Tony Baloney, another independent, as he runs the last corner pretty wide. Francesco Valentino hooks him and spins him out, along with the 07 of Durka stand. As Clay Marcellus, Jabroni Pepperoni, and I believe that's the 51 of Krelter's Vinnick, trying to get by. As you can see, the 09, 01, and 51 hit the pit road early. Looks like some teams are trying to do some different strategies here. Another independent here is Niga Durkistan in the 77, who had a pretty bad race at Darlington. He's going to go off in the carousel. Will he be able to rejoin the racetrack? No, he actually hits the tire barrier pretty hard, and that's going to take Niga Durkistan out of the race early. That's on lap 4 of this race. Here's Matteo Valentino. This is lap 7 of the race. He just breaks down coming into turn 5, and not too sure what the problem is. Matteo says the ignition just cut out on him. But either way, the car dies. They have to get a crane to get him off the racetrack. No 4-course yellow for that. Here's Rafael Smolzanovic. This is the end of lap 7 here, as he's going to dive into the pits to start his first pit stop of the day. And I expect most of the leaders to follow him, even though they really should stay out to try to gain some time. Jordan Kosovo, who's now up to 2nd place, is now in pit road as well. As you can see him coming over the crest. There's Zeke Miller, who's now surprisingly jumped up to 3rd place. Keon Parker 4th, and Cooper Key rounds out the top 5. I don't see anybody staying out. Looks like everybody's coming in. Nope, there's one who stays out. Jake Baloney in the 15. Here's Tony Baloney in the 19, who's already had an incident already. This is also on lap 7. He was just running further back. He goes off into carousel as well, and he's going to do the same thing as the 77 and hit the tire barrier. Baloney would not go out of the race. However, he would be multiple laps down due to all the damage he just sustained. I can't get my words right today. Jake Baloney did stay out an extra lap, but he came into pit on lap 8. However, Muhammad Ali in the 59 for the Desert Speed Racing team has decided to stay out another lap. This is lap 9. So the Desert Speed team is running a much different strategy from everybody else. He's running 2 laps longer. However, there's one kicker. If you saw just as we started this shot, the 89 of Rafael Smolzanovic is not too far behind him. So I don't know what they're banking on here, but at the end of lap 9, here comes Muhammad Ali into the pits. And he's definitely going to give up the lead to Rafael Smolzanovic in 89, who's about to come over the crest right now. As here he is. He's already passed him. So we'll see where the 59 ends up coming out after wherever their strategy puts them. Here's Valor Christensen, who had a top 10 at Darlington last week. As he's coming through the carousel, he's going to slip off the racetrack. He's going to try to regain control and get back on. However, he's going to hit the tire barrier, and that's going to take Valor Christensen out of the race. Back up front with Rafael Smolzanovic. This is lap 10. He's led pretty much almost every lap so far. He hasn't led 3 laps. He's led 7 to 10 so far. As he's got Gustavo Silva Rodriguez right behind him, and now he's catching the slower car of Tavion Cobb, who has front end damage after the contact with Zalon Foster here. As Smolzanovic makes contact with Tavion Cobb and puts him to the tire barrier, Smolzanovic slides, and I believe Tavion Cobb is on his roof. A promising day for Rafael Smolzanovic has gone south, as now he has got damage to the car and is possibly taking himself out of contention to win the race. And here's the chase cam of the 89 of Smolzanovic. He's going to catch Tavion Cobb in kind of an awkward spot here. And he's just going to hook him because the 40 went wide. And when Cobb hit the tire barrier, it just kicked the front of the 89 out. So, like I said, Smolzanovic had a great start to the race. But now it's just been all undone because of him not knowing what to do around a lap car. Yeah, Tavion Cobb just got dumped and in hard into the tire barrier and flips the car over. Thankfully, Tavion Cobb would be okay, but pretty hard hit in the driver's door there. Well, after the 89's kerfuffle with Tavion Cobb, this puts Gustavo Silva Rodriguez in the lead of the race, as he has Zeke Miller and Keon Parker running right behind him. Gustavo Silva Rodriguez is not having the title defense season he would be hoping for. He started off the season bad when he DNQ'd for the sniffing less than 100 at Daytona. And other than that, he's had some strong runs here and there, but he hasn't been able to seal the deal of any wins. He's been close on a couple of times this season, but just hasn't had anything go his way. Been involved in a lot of wrecks and had some mechanical failures, so not a great start for, or at least not a season Rodriguez would like to have. As on lap 12, he would come back into the pits to start his second pit stop. We'll see if anybody else joins him. Nope, Keon Parker and Zeke Miller stay out. They're going to stay out an extra lap. At least I think they're going to stay out just the one lap to try to gain ground on the 20. And here we are back with the 67 of Zico Ronadima Somaina. That is a tongue twister and a half. As he's going to go off the carousel once again. And he's actually going to run into the tire barrier. And that's going to take him out of the race. A promising start and a promising day for Somaina is now over. Alright, here we are on lap 14. This is 2 laps after Gustavo Silva Rodriguez came into the pits. Keon Parker and Zeke Miller running first and second decide to come in 2 laps later than everybody else. Or at least than Rodriguez did. And everybody else follows them in. Except for the 59 of Muhammad Ali. He's running the extra 2 laps. So we expect him to come in on lap 16. They're going to be pushing it pretty close to the end of the race here. And see, oh, golly, nearly goes off in the carousel. He's driving it really wide. I don't think that's what you should be doing if you're trying to push an alternate strategy here. And here's Intero Keiko, one of the Finnish engineering cars, the one who hasn't been involved in a wreck yet. His teammate Karel Herzvinick has. However, he's going to go off in the carousel, and he's going to go into the tire barrier, just like a couple cars in front of him. And that's going to take Intero Keiko out of the race. Here on this shot, this is lap 17. Gustavo Silva Rodriguez beat Keon Parker out of the pits, and Muhammad Ali just made his pit stop, so he actually almost ran 3 laps longer, which I'm actually surprised he stretched his field for that long. But Rodriguez has reclaimed his role as leader. However, Keon Parker is running a little bit closer. Actually, no, it's about the same distance as he was before the 20 came into the pits. And there's Zeke Miller, who actually lost time on pit road. He's actually even further back than where he was before the pit stops. So it looks like it is a 2-horse race between the 20 and the 14 to possibly see who wins the race. Jake Blondie, who was leading briefly in the earlier stages of the race, is running not much better. He's running just outside the top 10. As when he came down pit road, his pit crew was a little bit slow, so it's definitely kind of hampered his strategy a little bit. As they're 3 wide still with Garrett Banks and Saudi, so boing boing, and there goes the 15 and the 56 off track. Well, you can just forget about the alternate strategy for Jake Blondie because his day is over with. As here is the front chase cam. This is Saudi Shaboing Boing in the 56, another independent in the race today. And he didn't really give Blondie much room and just took both of them off the racetrack. Saudi would continue on, however, he would be off the pace for the rest of the day. As here comes Gustavo Silva Rodriguez back onto pit road. This is lap 18. This should be his second to final pit stop. But Keon Parker stays out. As Parker's going to keep going, he actually runs until lap 21 to finally make his pit stop. He's trying to push it to the very end of the race. This is a ballsy move by Parker and the Dorkanet Racing team. As other cars coming out of pit road, we're waiting on Parker to come out of pit road here. This is the exit cam. We're waiting on the 20 of Gustavo Silva Rodriguez. And here comes the 20 car. He's got Eric Hawkinson in tow. As Parker's going to exit the pits, the 20 is going to beat him out of pit road. Eric Hawkinson in the 18 is also on the lead lap. He's moved up to second. And that's going to kick Keon Parker down to third. However, the 18 will have to pit at some point. He's running an alternate strategy. Not the same one as the leaders, so I expect the 18 to come in pretty soon. So that would give Keon Parker back second place, and he's going to try to hunt down the 20 of Gustavo Silva Rodriguez. And here we are with Clay Marcellus. This is lap 21 as he's running through the carousel here. However, he's going to overdrive the carousel, slip off the racetrack here. He's trying to regain control. However, he's going to go into the tire barrier, and that's going to take Clay Marcellus out of the race. And here's Gustavo Silva Rodriguez. He's going to come in to make his final pit stop of the day. This is on lap 23. However, if you remember, Keon Parker ran an extra 3 laps. So technically, Parker's going to try to push it to the end. And the only thing Rodriguez can bank on is that he's going to hope that Parker runs out of fuel before he gets to the checkered flag. And here's Dareem Abdul-Sagard. This is lap 23 as well. The same lap as Rodriguez making his pit stop. He's going to run through the carousel as well. However, he slips off track as well for about the 7th time this has happened. Trying to regain control, but he doesn't and runs into the tire barrier, and that's going to take Dareem out of the race. However, we weren't quite done with the carousel. Jordan Kosovo, 2 laps later on lap 25, slips off the carousel. Is actually not going to be able to hit. He actually keeps it off the wall and is going to rejoin the racetrack. I believe he's only the only car to rejoin the racetrack without hitting it. Zico Salmaina went off the track early and barely clipped it, but was able to regain control as well. Here's Garrett Banks towards the end of the race, and he just gets punted by Sincere Fox going into turn 5. This was with 2 laps to go. Garrett Banks was not too happy with the 21 after that. Gustavo Silva Rodriguez's hope that Keon Parker would run out of fuel on the last lap would not come to fruition. As Keon Parker comes up the hill for the final time, he's going to see the checkered flag. And here comes Keon Parker to take the win here at Road America for his 2nd win of the season and the 3rd win of the season for the Jorkanet Racing team. And here are the results from Road America. Keon Parker wins the race. He was basically dominant when he was in the lead of the race. Cooper Key comes home with his best finish of the season with a runner-up finish. He was pretty quiet today. Zeke Miller rebounds after his Darlington disaster to finish in 3rd. Alex Constantine finally gets a top 5. It's a much needed one. That's his first since Motegi. Jay Baldy comes home with a top 5 finish on a road course, which is something you don't see every day. Russ Palmer comes home in 6th, so that's another top 10 run for him. Kareem Abdul-Najjar was another Darlington disaster. He comes home in 7th. Dustin Harris ran a quiet race, comes home in 8th. Bryce Fencing comes home in 9th. And despite taking himself out of contention for the win, Rafael Smoljanovic still comes home with a top 10 finish and some much needed independent points. And here are the points after 15 of 25 races. Bryce Fencing is still the points leader. John Body Jr. is still 2nd. Alex Constantine is up to 3rd. Zeke Miller 4th. Valor Christensen could have been a lot higher in points, but he's had a couple rough races. He's now 5th in points. Gustavo Silva Rodriguez is 6th. Russ Palmer still hanging up in the top 10. Keon Parker, after his win at Road America, jumped back into the top 10 in points. Garrett Banks holds up in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 in points, Zaylen Foster for the Race and Therapy Camp with 390 points. He's been sneakily consistent the last few weeks. And here's 11th through 20th. The Cigars in Paris team locked down 11th and 12th in points. Kareem has a 4-point advantage over his cousin Dareem. Cooper Key is 13th in points. He actually had decent runs for once, so he's able to jump up to almost the top 10. Clay Marcellus has been hanging in the top 20 pretty much the entire season, outside of the start. Jordan Kosovo has been flirting with the top 10, but has settled in 15th. Joey Davidson had a pretty mediocre run, so he's now down to 16th. Jacob Lauren, basically same story for him. He's 17th in points. Jay Baldy's been flirting with the top 20 to get in. Did drop out of it briefly, but now he's back. He's 18th. Eric Hawkinson is 19th, still hanging on despite all of the attrition that's come his way. Also, mainly being involved in other people's wrecks. And rounding out the top 20 is Donkoy Who's Your Daddy, who gets a Big Bang Racing team car into the top 20 in points, I believe for the first time this season. And here are the independent points. Tommy Salami is still the points leader. He has 1 race left to go. If he makes the next round at Indianapolis, he could earn some major points that could allow him to lock up the independent title. Barrett Cervantes is 2nd. Jabroni Pepperoni is 3rd. Wes Miller's 4th. T Scorpion 5th. Zebediah Wheat Farmer 6th. Tony Baloney 7th. Rafael Smoljanovic, after his top 10 run at Road America, is up to 8th. However, he had a poor run at Darlington, so that really didn't help him too much. Jalapeno had a bad run at Darlington. Same with Hinga Darkistan. Muhammad Ali tried an alternate pit strategy and it did not work well for him. He didn't earn too many points. Sincere Fox, only thing he got was an angry, pissed off Garrett Banks after the Road America race after he bunted him. Zico Ronaldinho Somaina had a great start, but unfortunately just didn't work out for him. Saudi Shaboymoy got wrecked. Fat Cop saying Big Toe raced at Darlington. He got wiped out early. Pretty much every independent on the list made a start in the last 2 races, but nothing really changed too much, so really all I can really say for them. However, if any independent makes the next race at Indianapolis, that race is worth double points, and that could shake up the independent standings a lot. Now that we're finally past the halfway point of the season, the Rejectcar Elite Series heads to the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway for their second to last overcapacity event of the season. However, this event is worth double points. So both the main point standings and the independent point standings could be shaken up a lot, depending on who makes the race and who doesn't. This has been Jim Format for the Reject Sports Network. See you then! If you have enjoyed the Rejectcar Elite Series and want to watch more races, click here to watch the playlist of the season so far. If you want to keep up with the series and don't want to miss a race, please consider subscribing by clicking here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.